thank you. Welcome to another spine-tingling, riveting episode of Two People Who Don't Give Two Shits About Riding Around a Jeep. I am Ronin. Today we have a very special guest by the name of Aces. Aces is joining us. He's spent a long time servicing the community at large, and it's a privilege to have you here to talk about volunteerism. If you're not familiar with the show, we kind of get somebody in the hot seat and we talk about why do they bother to volunteer, what's in servicing. I mean, so Aces, if you would be so kind, tell us a little bit about your history of servitude, and then tell us why you choose to volunteer in a world that's so laden with the self-serving lot.
Right. Well, thank you for having me. And yeah, so I've been volunteering most of my life. I was in the Air Force for several years, and when I was in the Air Force, I did some volunteering off and on, but then I got out in probably around 2004, and I started volunteering more because, to put it simply, there's, at least for me personally, there's a lot of things that I can struggle with, and one thing that helps me keep those demons at bay is by being active, meeting people like yourself and getting out in the community, and just it's a lot about making a difference and having an impact on the community, but it's also more, for me, it's about taking care of self, because it's when I'm helping somebody, I'm doing something, I'm building something, I'm tearing something down, whatever it might be, the last thing I'm thinking about is the stuff in my head, so I get more out of it than likely than whoever it is I'm working with gets out of it. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
And then I got involved because of you around this community, because you spun up some a great platoon servicing the homeless, and you've been a good model of leadership in the community, and helping to put together these organizations in this area, being the Twin Cities area, and helping keep them out there working.
Yeah, I mean, it's humbling to hear that, but thank you. But yeah, I mean, I remember when I was asked to help start the local service platoon in Minneapolis, and they sent me for some training, and I came back, and I was working full-time as a therapist at that time, and as I was driving to work, and I was doing this, on a volunteer basis, my evening hours and weekends. But the thought I kept having to myself is going to work is pretty damn inconvenient, because there's so many things in my head that I wanted to do, and where I wanted to take that program, and so, and there was a balance I had to find, because I found it kind of consuming a lot of my time, and some of those people closest to me became jealous of the program, and so I had to there's a balance to that, to your own family life, your personal life, and that's for everyone else to figure out on their own, but I think I've come to a better place in doing that, so, because you got to take care of those around you as well, so good stuff.
So given your extensive experience volunteering, do you have a little anecdote or a humorous quip that you'd like to share with the viewing audience of maybe 5 people?
I would say, if you're watching this, you're probably actively involved. But if you're not, or if maybe you're taking a break, just think about those that won't be blessed by your presence, right? So, a lot of times people will say, well, I don't have much to offer, or, what difference would one person make, right? And I want to challenge your thought, if you're having that to think about just your presence alone. Each person has gifts, right? You may or may not know what those are, And if they're gifts, they typically naturally just come out. And if you're not present, right? If you don't suit up to show up, if you don't strap your boots on, then people won't have that privilege to know you and to benefit from those gifts. If you're staying at home or not doing anything. So, I think it would be a crying shame for people not to know you, whoever you may be, and show up, meet another person, whether it's a veteran or a community member, start a conversation, simple conversation, get to know that person. And one thing, a mantra I try to keep in mind and live to is always seek to understand. Right? We got a lot of stuff going on in the world today and in this country, and I can be, and I know maybe some others can be quick to judge or criticize or whatever the situation, right? But I always say seek to understand either the situation or seek to understand the need, the cause, the person, before you make those judgments or before you decide to not get involved, right? I love when I work with new nonprofits, I love learning about their missions, what they do. But then when I actually show up, I can read about it on the website all day, but when you actually show up and you're talking to the people on the ground and actual people that live in those neighborhoods, the stories you hear, it just really makes it connect, right? It makes sense to me. It's like a no-brainer. It's just, sometimes I wish I could do more. But that's why we need more people. More people involved, you can have a greater impact. Volunteer today.
Occasionally you get people that are so gung-ho and so motivated to go out there and volunteer, they show up a day early.
Yeah, sometimes a day early, right? Yeah, that happens from time to time.
So what are you up to nowadays, Aces?
Well, thank you, Ronin. I am currently working full-time as a City Impact Manager, that's my title, with The Mission Continues. I've got an office it's at the Cocoa location, that's the collaborative workspace in Northeast Minneapolis.
Do they serve cocoa?
They serve coffee, though. They serve coffee, no cocoa. They have tea. But I think it stands for Collaborative Office something. But they have locations, so it's like one of those old warehouses they'll convert into a nice space, and it's really a lot. It's designed for like those entrepreneurs, those small business startups. So I'm working out of there because it's a good location in Northeast Minneapolis. They have one in uptown, I think in downtown at the Grain Exchange. They have one in St. Paul and one in Chicago as well. So, and there's a couple veterans groups that are doing things out of there. I've recently met up with Battle Labs and what they're doing, and they're doing a lot of work with entrepreneurs. So it's a good space. So yeah, I've been with Mission Continues since May of 2016, and I'm enjoying every day of it. And now I'm also volunteering with Team Rubicon. Hoorah!
I hear they're doing great. They're doing great things for the community.
No, they are. Team Rubicon is, especially in Minnesota, we're really doing a lot of active things. Not only training and service projects, but a lot of great efforts this last rotation through the spring and summer with the flooding down in Waseca and that surrounding area. They did a lot of good relief efforts down there, and also helped out with Wisconsin's efforts too. First operation ever in Wisconsin last year. So Team Rubicon is a great disaster relief group led by veterans, first responders, community members. I've been doing that. I did the training in 2015, but I just actively became a leadership team member this last year. So looking forward to continuing my volunteer role with them, and also as a staff member with Mission Continues, helping other volunteers continue that mission. So
do you have anything you'd like to impart additionally to some folks before you tell me how to get back to Caribou, because I'm obviously lost.
I don't even know where we're at. Don't go over that mountain now.
It's a Jeep. It's supposed to be
It's a Jeep, right? Let's test it out, man. Let's go low on the 4. Let's see. Last thing to impart, keep it simple. You know, it's like if you're wondering whether you should do something or not, do something. You know, get active. I've challenged myself recently. It was a few years ago that I decided to run a marathon, and so recently I decided to, as part of a fundraiser for Mission Continues, I signed up to train for a marathon in Chicago. So
It was the 72 Olympics, wasn't it?
the 72 Olympics. No, they passed me over in that one, but that's actually Grandma's marathon in 1996. 96. So, I mean, it's those challenges. Like for me, it's like I've got to kind of be on the edge of the next thing for me personally. Like keep sharpening the edge of that sword. You know, it's like, and it doesn't have to be anything like running a marathon. It can just be like, hey, maybe I'll go to that next event. You know, and just get out of the house, get out of the apartment.
Start out small.
Start out small. And that's
and then
important.
watch it just avalanche.
And that's well, right. And it's, you know, sometimes it, I don't know, addiction is the good word to use, but it can be addictive. It can be catching. And I mean, that's what happened to me, at least with this program, is I did a fellowship with the Mission Continues in 2013. And that was, you know, 2013, that was like 8 years after I got out, and that was the first time I felt connected because, you know, at every fellowship class, there's 4 a year, they send you to a 3-day orientation in a city somewhere, and mine was in LA. And, you know, I was in a room with 75 other veterans, and they were in the same position I was in life. Like, what the hell's going on? How do I make sense of this? And then we did a service project together at a homeless place for youth there in LA. And it was the first time I felt connected to anything in those 8 years. And that's when the bell went off in my head. I mean, it took a while to make sense of it, but so ever since then, at least for me, that's where that connection was made. And for anyone else, I mean, you know, the nice thing about volunteering is you get to try different things, right? And you might not know what your passion is, but trust me, when you do something and it connects with that passion, you'll know it, right? And if you're seeking employment, who knows it? A lot of times volunteering, it's good for the resume and it might lead to a job. I mean, good for me. I'm not promising that to everybody, but you never know, right? And it's just good to get out and do something. So just do it. I think someone says that before. I don't know, just do it. I'm not sure who.
Yeah, we're gonna have to come up with other
mantras.
Get her done.
Get her
I
done.
think that's taken.
Get some shit done. Well, that one's taken. Well, thank you.
No,
It's been an honor.
thank you for taking a ride in the Jeep. So this has been another ravishing episode talking about volunteerism. I am Ronin, Aces. Get out there and get something done. Just
Amen.
do it. Get her done. Try just a little bit. Kind of sweeten the taste buds, and then jump in and take a bigger bite if that's your thing. And spread yourself around. Like Aces so eloquently put it, well, a lot more eloquently than I will, when it comes to servicing, you got to spread it around. Spread it around, see what fits, see what works. So this has been two people you don't give two shits about riding around in the Jeep. See you next time.